Tony Rock has finally broken his silence on the infamous Oscar slap between his brother Chris and Will Smith. Tuesday night, Rock participated in a Q&A on Twitter and defended his brother. Rock was asked how he felt about the Oscar situation, and he said it was foul. Rock would also be asked if he approved of Will's apology, and he said no. A few more questions that were asked: are we fighting fire with fire or going the professional route? Rock responded, "It's on, bro." Another user asked, "So Diddy was lying when he said Chris and Will made up that night and are good now?" Rock responded, "Yep." Chris has yet to make a statement since the incident occurred, but he has been seen for the first time in public as he touched down in Boston to kick off his Ego Death tour. Fans will eagerly be awaiting his response. Today we have our Comedy Hype analyst, Pierre, Vanessa Fraction in studio, with special guest producer and director, Bobby Huntley, to give their reactions. So I want to dive right into this one. And Pierre, I'm going to start with you. What are your thoughts? Do you think, Tony Rock's response was valid in the way that he's responding to these questions?
Sure. I mean, it's family. If somebody slaps your family, and embarrasses your family, or however you want to look at it, you're going to defend them to all, to the end of time. I believe most family members would do that, especially a man getting slapped by another man. That's one of the lowest forms of, things to do to somebody, a man. But yeah, I mean, I think it's an appropriate response. I'm not in that household. I don't know what that connection is between brotherly love like that, how strong it is, but obviously strong enough for him to say, no, I ain't accepting that. And it's on site, now what that means, but.
Absolutely. Now, Bobby, first and foremost, thank you so much for joining us today. This has been the talk of the week. As you know, I'm pretty sure you've seen it everywhere. So I want to get your thoughts. Hearing from Tony, do you think his response is valid?
What interests me about this whole thing is, of course, they've worked together before. The whole Rock family, Smith family, the organization, on multiple projects. Right. So maybe there's some things behind the scenes we're not privy to, we don't know. But of course, the embarrassment of that moment, how it's going to affect their legacy, like that clip is always going to be a part of their lives at this point moving forward. So there's going to have to be a lot of work done, a lot of things said to help smooth this over. But right now, he's looking out for his brother and, saying and doing all the things that his brother really can't right now.
Right.
So, yeah, healing on all sides,
Yeah, absolutely. And like you said, the internet never dies. The internet never dies. Mm-hmm. Vanessa, I want to get you to chime in on this as well. Hearing from Tony Rock, we heard from the other brother, the other Rock brother. Now we're hearing from Tony. Do you think his response is valid?
I liked his response. I've worked with Tony many times. Friends with Tony, like Tony, and I liked his responses. They were short, to the point. He was not the one that was hit, but right. That was his family, and don't think, you know what I mean? Because if you hit one, you think you could just hit the family? What do you think you could do? So sometimes it's that public solidarity, that unity, and again, he kept it short and sweet, and also left it to his brother. Hey, right. It's on bro, whatever he's trying to do. You know what I'm saying? If that's what he wants, cool. You know what I'm saying? It's not that bravado, hey, as soon as I see him, it's going, you know what right. I'm saying? And with all that, it's more like, hey, look, I'm leaving it open to the one that was offended, and however he wants to move, we gonna move the way he wants to move. And I thought that was done well.
Absolutely. Now, both you and Pierre brought up, it being family, and you as well, Bobby, brought up about it being family. So I want to ask you, Pierre, if this was your family member, how would you respond, or, kind of where would your mind frame be in this moment?
Same way Tony did. I mean, if hit my family, then, I got to step up. I guess like Mr. Huntley said, he's saying stuff that Chris can't really say right now. So he's been his voice for him. I'm thinking, I don't know what was in Chris' mind, to be honest with you. We don't really know, but I think what Tony said, was valid, and I don't have a problem with that. But now again, I thought he said he was on site. I thought he said on site. Now I don't know. And Vanessa said he said something different. So if he said if his brother is up to his brother, then okay, then that's what it's going to be, up to his brother. So
right.
I think it was the other brother that said on site, and Jordan, which whom I as well, but yeah. Jordan said on site and then deleted it, and it was Tony that just, when they said, are we handling this professionally or to the streets, and he said it's on bro.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. Now, while you're here, I want you to chime in on that as well. If it's your family member, would you have responded differently, or what would be your mind frame?
It depends on which family member it was, child. Some of my family members are instigators. Right. And I'm not getting ready to get whopped up with you because you want to instigate and start shit and so forth. But for the most part, yes, I'm going to back my family member up. I'm going to stand up for them. Again, I'm not the type to meet violence with violence. at all times. Not sure that this particular instance would be like, let's get physical. Olivia Newton. Why did I do that? That is such a dated reference. The point is like, if he would have went for him and it was a brawl and you threw my family member to the ground and started kicking them and they had to pull you up off of them and all of that,
right,
then yes, there might be something that needs to be done because there's some issues. But that straight up disrespectful slap, that might be something that needs to be handled between those two men.
Right, absolutely. Now, Bobby, I want to bring you in on that as well because I'm interested to hear your response. I know we kind of talked about, your siblings before the show, that you have some. So if it was one of your siblings, would you be responding differently, or what would be your mind frame right now?
So that's the funny thing about it. So like, the industry mindset is one thing, and people outside of the industry, your family, that's a whole other situation. I'm a baby brother, so my sisters, they'll bring it to the streets if they have to. I'm like, nah, I'm in the industry, we can't do that. But what I'm definitely most excited about this is what this conversation means for the world of comedy at large. The comedians in these theaters, these clubs, these bars, like, who's going to protect them? Like, does this mean that people can go start acting crazy in these, situations and stuff like that? So, I mean, you have to be concerned about the people that's not in the industry that don't have that decorum, that, have something to lose, because there's a lot of people out here that have nothing to lose.
Absolutely. Now, speaking of the industry, I know you just recently released a project, and I think the big conversation that and we'll get into later because I know everybody here has talked about it, but the big thing that everybody's talking about is Will is, will this hurt his career? Will this affect him in any way? So if this was somebody that you thought about casting for one of your projects, it doesn't necessarily have to be Will, but just in that stature, would you reconsider, after seeing a situation like this to kind of, back away from it?
Understood. I think for me personally, I look at history, I always do my research, and even in the auditioning phase, casting phase, just getting to know each other phase, like, I like to schedule like a lot of meetings and have a lot of time to just try to get to know a person, their temperament, what they like, what they don't like, are they easy to work with, easy to get along with. So it's just one of those things. Every once in a while we all have moments where it's not the best, or we don't show our 100% best self, so I try not to judge people too harshly on those. Every once in a while, or maybe just once, but if there's a consistent history,
right,
if all these people are coming out saying, no, please don't, that's what you need to be concerned about.
Now, let me ask you, if someone did, that you already casted, and they knew that this person was coming in, and they kind of said, like, hey, I'll feel a little uncomfortable if this person was to be, what's your thought, or, how do you respond to something like that?
I mean, of course, I have an obligation to my team, my cast, if there is a cause for concern for them, and it hinders them from feeling safe on my set and hinders them from delivering the performance that they're supposed to give, then I definitely have to make some reconsiderations at that point.
Absolutely. Now, Pierre, I want to bring you in because I know you've produced about 4 movies or more. I could be missing some, but I want to get your thoughts as well. If you were casting someone of this stature and you saw something like this go down, would you reconsider? And then, if you have somebody that feels uncomfortable, what's your thought process, or how do you handle that?
Mr. Huntley said it very eloquently and brilliantly, but I'll say, if the nigga worth the money, he gonna keep on working with me. Damn that. The rest of the cast gotta understand. You got Will Smith here. None of y'all niggas worth Will Smith money. So yes, I be that petty. Y'all can say it in the comments. That's why black people don't get along. That's why you petty ass nigga. That's all that. Yes, Will Smith slaps everybody on that crew and comes on time and get me that money I need and move to the next level. I'm that petty. Yes, I am. That's why I ain't shit. My life is over. I know, in the comments. But basically, no, I agree with what he said. But if it was a Will Smith one incident situation like that, of that statue, we can work around it. This is how the world is. I know we ain't supposed to be, ain't how it's supposed to be. We're supposed to punish everybody. But yeah, now if it's like, let's say for instance, Mikey Mike, some actor that I don't know, you talk around slapping people, you got to go, homie. You got to go. That value ain't enough on our set.
Yeah, no, they're going to be in the comments for sure. I can't wait to read them. Now, Vanessa, I do want to bring you in that as well. If you're, seeing this kind of go on, that this was somebody maybe you were considering for, a role or just to be a part of your production, from a production standpoint, is it something that you kind of shy away from or step away from, or how do you handle that?
I speak on patterns of behavior, as we've all stated, and he doesn't have a pattern of behavior in all the 30 years or however many years that he's been doing what he's doing. I look at that, like if you're experienced, again, everybody has an off day, even a dramatic off day, especially in the realm of acting and things like that. Like, it's a lot of ups, downs, highs, lows. Most of us have therapists. So definitely those are those days that we maybe don't, again, give our 100% and show our best self. And you have to have a little grace for that type of thing. And for moving forward, if someone had an issue with it, you gotta use, it's a case-by-case thing. What did that person do? How uncomfortable are you? There's been situations where I said, I don't wanna work with that individual. I'm actually not telling you not to work with them. I'm saying I'm gonna pass on this. And if you want me bad enough, then you say, hey, I would rather you not pass. I'm gonna take care of this person and bring you on. But sometimes it doesn't work that way. Sometimes they say, and I understand.
Right.
And we'll get you on the next project or something, but I'm gonna continue to work with that individual. I wanted to bring something back really, really quick because
absolutely.
it speaks to patterns of behavior. When Bobby, is it Hudley or
Huntley.
Huntley, excuse me. Mr. Huntley brought up are comedians now afraid and who's going to protect us type of situation on stage. I've thought about this for a long time, and because it comes up periodically when things go down. And it's like, I don't worry about that. You know, I know that some comedians actually should actually have a security guard, because you might have the type of comedy that I might say some stuff that's going to offend you. There was a comedian that says, I don't know comics that go out saying, I want to see how offensive I can be. I want to see how many people I can offend. I actually know comics that say, I want to see how many people I can offend tonight, because that's their brand of comedy. Amy Schumer herself said, I'm a mean-spirited comedian. You know what I'm saying? She understands herself to be that way. You know what I mean? So yes, maybe those people do need to say, let me add a little security guard, because some people might not get my humor. Me, myself, I've never worried about that type of thing, because I don't normally talk about people. I don't talk about your appearance. I might talk about something that you do, maybe something that you chose to have on.
Right.
But that doesn't mean that I attack whom you are. You know what I mean?
Right.
And so a lot of us don't know the differences in that. So I don't think that it's a thing where we should all be scared. I think about how important are your choice of words. You know what I mean? Are you really here to make people feel better? You know what I'm saying? And which I think comedians should do. Or are you here to get a laugh at whatever expense that is?
Absolutely. No, I think you bring up a great point, because I do see that a lot in the comments, like people kind of concerned for comedians and wondering, like, so to hear that from a comedian, I appreciate that, you know, that introspective. So thank you all again for chiming in on this, and I know this has been the topic. I do want to ask one more question before we head out. Speaking of comedians, this is a little on a lighter note just to end. Pierre, I'll start with you. I know you're going to make sure they leave them in the comments. Do you think if that was another comedian on stage, that Will Smith would have gotten up and done the same thing if that had been someone else outside of Chris Rock?
That question is offensive to Chris Rock, because you're trying to demean Chris Rock and say for some reason he ain't man enough to handle it, or he ain't a guy that you know, he's an easy prey. And I don't agree with that. Chris Rock is a man. Now, he might be a slight smaller man, but I mean, he still throw his hands. I'm quite sure it's put in a situation that need be, besides just a slap. But if somebody was hitting on him. So when people say that, another guy, I don't know. I mean, you know, I don't even know what to even answer that. No, I mean, I think, you know, anybody, you know, could have took that situation that way, or, you know, but I don't say that as far as slighting Chris Rock. That's a slighting Chris Rock question to me.
Absolutely, you know, and I see between that in the comments, and then, you know, if it was a white person as well. So, you know, but Bobby, I want to, you know, just kind of get your thoughts as well. Do you think if it, you know, it was another comedian, because this is conversations that we see, so we're just bringing, you know, those conversations here to have it. What are your thoughts on that as you sip your water?
I just got really thirsty. That's all it was. Honestly, so the crazy thing about this whole thing was this weekend, this past weekend, I was listening to the Will Smith audiobook nonstop. So this has been a very Will Smith oriented week for me. So a lot of things added up and lined up with the things that was in his book and what he said, and with his marriage and all of that. So thinking of all of that, I feel that with everything that built up to it, it would and could have been anybody at that moment, because there was definitely a build up to that moment.
Right. No, absolutely. And I think we can kind of see that, even if you haven't read the book, just seeing the things on internet and all that has been going on between him and Jada, like being the butt of everybody's joke, like
even him laughing at first.
Right. Exactly. Yeah.
And then what she says in his book is like almost like a mechanism.
Right.
Right. And then turning to his wife and seeing like, oh, she's not liking that. And then there's a whole thing in the book about their relationship, and you know, so it's like, what am I going to do in this moment? The pressure, the internet, you know, not to be in his head and speak for him, but you know, it's in his book. It all added up to that.
Absolutely. I'm going to have to make sure I check that out. Vanessa, I want to get your thoughts as well. What do you think, when you're seeing these conversations of people saying, if that was another comedian, do you think he would have done the same thing? What are your thoughts?
No, yes. I get confused on
Right,
what am I supposed to be saying yes to the no or no to the yes, but no, I don't think that I think he would have done the same thing. Am I saying? Yes, I believe no matter who it was, except if it were Wanda, Regina Hall, or Amy Schumer, I don't think he would have done the same thing. And too, with them being the host, and sometimes it's the way you lay it. It's the timing, it's the this and that. The spirit in which you tell a joke or what have you. So yeah, if it had been one of the three hosts, I don't think he would have reacted in the same way. Possibly, he may have been upset, but I'm quite sure he wouldn't have stormed the stage. But anyway, go Pierre.
My wife's side have a question real quick. My wife's side would have a question would have been like, if a white guy would have slapped somebody at the Oscar and sat down, would we have said, shit, had that been a black dude, they would have threw his ass out. They would, if it was a black man, they'd arrested that nigga.
We would have said it, but we saw what happened because I think it depends on which person does it and what point you are in your career. And again, it wasn't like he had, Molly stomped him and just kept going and foo-fopped him and all that.
Right.
He slapped him and went and sat down. It was contained. You know what I'm saying, or whatever.
Right.
So,
very quick.
But yeah, I think that as Mr. Huntley said, like anybody could have got it.
And I personally think it was a history.
It felt like it was a history.
Yeah.
Sure, it wasn't about that joke. It wasn't about
it's definitely something more and something.
And you think you can stand in front of me and do this? Now, their Twitter fingers is one thing, but you gonna stand in front of me? I don't know. It felt like that.
Now, speaking of the book that you mentioned, I do want us to take a quick look at this clip and then come back and get everybody's thoughts on it, because I know I haven't read the book yet, so I think looking at this will kind of give us something to respond to. So let's take a look at this clip.
Why in the world did Will Smith slap Chris Rock? Listen to this clip closely right here.
I've always thought of myself as a coward. Most of my memories of my childhood involve me being afraid in some way. Afraid of other kids, afraid of being hurt or embarrassed, afraid of being seen as weak. But mostly, I was afraid of my father. When I was 9 years old, I watched my father punch my mother in the side of her head so hard that she collapsed. I saw her spit blood. That moment in that bedroom, probably more than any other moment in my life, has defined who I am today. Within everything that I've done since then, the awards and accolades, the spotlights and the attention, the characters and the laughs, there's been a subtle string of apologies to my mother for my inaction that day, for failing her in that moment, for failing to stand up to my father, for being a coward.
Pierre, really quickly, I want to get your thoughts or reactions to that.
There it is. I mean, that's a good indication right there. He's just been tired of being, looked at as a coward and feeling himself as a coward. He felt like that moment he had to stand up, and he felt he had to stand up for his wife, his woman, his whole, situation. And he just took the wrong route, I think, of showing, him being a man by slapping another man on national television like that. It could have been handled differently, but I totally understand of all the, the history he went through, and how he felt. So it was just an explosive moment.
Absolutely. Vanessa, I want you to chime in as well. What are your thoughts or reactions after hearing
I have empathy for him, and I'm glad that book came out when it did so that people can have an understanding of what goes on. It just doesn't excuse what you do. A lot of us are operating out of childhood hurt. A lot of us are just now figuring out why we do the things we do. I have a joke where I go off on the girl at the Panda Express because I feel like she cheating me out of my scoops of food.
Yeah.
But that is because I grew up humble and I don't want, I need all the value. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But it's like, that's not an excuse to act out. You know what I mean? And hopefully he will address that. And you can say all these things and all this stuff was stemming from this and stemming from that. But that your behavior, though, is something that you have to have control over.
Right.
That's something that you, and again, we're not perfect,
right.
You know what I mean? But that was just an extreme, on such a stage, for that to come out in such a way. I have empathy for him, I guess is the best thing I can say, maybe.
Absolutely. Now, I know you kind of prompted that, but if you want to add anything, what are your thoughts after hearing that again?
Definitely taking his childhood trauma into consideration, and also the hit that his marriage has taken the past year or two in the public eye. All that just compounded into the mess that it became now. But of course, Will Smith is arguably the most controlled man in the world who just lost control in one blink of a moment. So I'm pretty sure he'll bounce back. He'll figure out the right way to make this right with all parties involved. So I'm not too worried about it.
And can I say
Absolutely.
too that some of the stuff with his marriage and everything like that, a little bit of that, is self-inflicted. You know what I mean? You guys thought that it was, and again, you know, we do like to try to give people understanding and help other people go through stuff that they might be going through in their relationships and in their marriages, but we didn't have to red table talk all of that. You know what I mean? That wasn't any of our business. You know what I mean? Even if, you know, when someone comes out and says some things that weren't supposed to necessarily be said, the agreements that you have within your union, we still, as a public, are not owed an explanation. You could have simply ignored Brother Alcina, you know what I'm saying, and moved on, you know what I'm saying, and let him say whatever he was saying, and it would have died down. The fact that, again, you're trying to save yourself from embarrassment, or you're trying to, or maybe protect your family or whatever by over talking and oversharing, and that's a self-inflicted thing, you know what I mean, or whatever. So we have to check ourselves a lot of times with the things that are brought to us, because we have something to do with it.
Well, I definitely appreciate everybody chiming in on this one. As I said, it's been the talk of the week. I don't know how much longer to go on, but I appreciate you all giving insight. I think there's always a diverse understanding here, so thank you all. You heard from us. Now we want to hear from you in the comments below. What are your thoughts now that Tony Rock has responded? For Comedy Hype News, I'm Symphony Thompson.
What's up, y'all? This your boy K-Rob, and for years, you come to us to get the latest news in comedy and for your favorite comedians. Now you come to us for even more news in the world of sports, music, and pop culture. We're bringing you some of our classic shows you love, like Unforgotten, the Comedy Hype News Show, and more of our one-on-one interviews. We're more than just laughs. We're the culture, the leaders in truth, and well, your streamer just got a little more blacker. Welcome to Hype Plus.